Good afternoon. My name is Richard Russell, and welcome to the Huron County 4-H Photo Clinic. That was Paul Simon with the popular song Kodachrome. I'm going to adjust my camera up just a little bit so you can see me, and then I'm going to get out of the picture. We're having this by video instead of the clinic that we had planned to gather everybody at because of the Wuhan COVID-19 virus quarantine in the state of Ohio that was by order of the health commissioner and the governor. But we wanted to give you some guidance for your 4-H photography project, as this is very likely your first year. The main thing about your photography project is that your photography project book will give you a lot of good guidance for good photographs. A couple of tips from what I have learned. From a trip to with an exhibit at the Ohio State Fair and many years as a newspaper photographer, there are three main things you want to keep in mind: lighting, movement, and framing. Lighting, you need to use good lighting. I set up here in my garage bunker because this is probably the best lighting we have on the property. And I also have an auxiliary light behind me. We can't always do that with still photography, but you do have a flash. And so one thing with good lighting is I always recommend that people use their flash whenever they're taking pictures inside. Even if the camera tells you it doesn't need to use the flash, it's a good idea. Movement. If your subject is moving too fast, like in sports, it can get blurry. But if you pan with the subject as they're moving or have the subject stand still, that helps. The other thing is you need to make sure that you are holding the camera steady, because movement of the camera produces that same blurring effect. Framing. You want to get the picture, you want to get your subject in the center of the picture or just to the side, kind of like what you see here with the video. Even though I'm more used to doing still photography, we'll see how this goes. A lot of people ask about what kind of camera they should use. I recommend not, especially for your first year projects, nothing more than a snapshot camera, basically. There's some very good digital cameras out there. Unlike what Mr. Simon said, you don't have to have a Nikon camera. You can use almost any brand. Canon, Fuji, Kodak has a good camera for under a lot of good cameras under $100, and any of those brands will work. I don't recommend getting a very expensive camera, especially for your first year. You can work on that later. Now, what do you want to photograph? Well, you're going to tell a story with your storyboard, a vacation, a trip, life around your house or your farm, a local attraction, a project around the house, even your own 4-H project. Say you're taking cooking or sewing or woodworking. Those make good steps as you go storyboards, so take pictures of them. Right now is a good time. You're home from school at the extended spring break. Your parents might be home, working from home. And this is a historic period, so you might want to go out and take pictures of your family while they're working and studying at home. Pictures on the street. The streets are kind of vacant now, so something you might not see quite as much. And just pictures of your downtown area in your hometown can be interesting, especially in the future when historians look at them. It's kind of fun to look back 20, 30, 40 years and see what the downtown area looked like back then. So you might even offer those pictures to your local historical society. The most important thing is when you're taking these pictures, don't wait too long. You don't want to run to get the prints made or buy a poster board the night before the fair. Try to get it done ahead of time. This extended spring break is a perfect opportunity to maybe even work on that 4-H project just a little bit. You don't have to wait until school's out. So now we're going to go over some of the, and I'm going to zoom the camera in and apologize. we're going to go over some of the rules. Your display board is required for your first year. It's optional for a second year, but you can't do just a single picture your first year. The maximum poster size is 22 by 28, which is what I have here. No foam boards are allowed, and the reason for that is because it's hard to get staples through those to put them up on the wall at the fair when they're exhibited in the miscellaneous still building. The other thing is trifold science fair displays are too big. They sit on a table very nice, but they're a little bit too thick and they're too big. So when you pick out your pictures, you can get those printed 4x6, 3x5. You can even get 5x7s. You have to have a minimum of 3 pictures to make your story. You can have any number over that, but we're going to see when we look at the board that I've done that it's kind of difficult to get that many on a display. Now, let's talk about how to mount the pictures in your labels. And what I've done here is on the left, you can see I've got double-sided tape, which works very well on pictures. It stays stuck to the back of the picture and the poster board very nicely. Rubber cement on the pictures can get a little bit messy, but it's a really good way to attach any labels, any paper labels that you have. I would recommend against using glue-all, what we used to call school glue, or a glue stick. The glue-all works good to a point, but it tends to crinkle the paper up, which looks a little distracting. And the glue stick doesn't hold well enough, especially on the smooth background or the smooth back of the prints, so they don't stay stuck to the poster board as well. And what happens is especially in the heat and humidity at the fair, pictures start falling off of the poster board. That's not something you want to have happen with your project, especially after you've worked on it so hard. Now I'm going to go up here. Once you decide how many prints you want, it's a good thing to make a layout. So I've done this layout, and this is where your math skills will come in, and this is good practice right now because you're missing math classes at school. So you take the 4x6 pictures and you figure out how many of those you want to go across and how many up and down, and then leaving room for a title block. You're going to do some calculations and divisions of how much room you have left, and it comes out 28 by 22, and these are your dimensions. This is a lot easier than trying to lay it out on the board. Then what we're going to do is we're going to write our name on the back of the board, and like this. And then you're going to lay your pictures out again, gluing the photos on with rubber cement, and then with double-sided tape, I used rubber cement for my labels. And so I decided to take pictures on mine of a time this winter, actually, when I baked cabbage casserole. And I had to stop at every point along the way and take pictures from finding a good recipe, gathering the ingredients. Carefully chopping the cabbage. Notice that there was, notice that there was Band-Aids in the background. Cooking the other ingredients, mixing everything together and layering it in a casserole dish, and then finally baking the casserole and enjoying it. Now, I could have probably gotten along with fewer pictures on this, but this shows you that, 8 or 9 pictures, snapshot size, are about as many as you want to put on the board. Now, you'll take your entry to the fair on Sunday morning or early afternoon. Try to get there early, and when it's checked in at the miscellaneous still building, they'll give you a Huron County Junior Fair exhibit card to attach to it, and then you'll come back on Monday morning and be judged. You'll sit down for an interview with a judge, possibly me, and we'll talk about how you took your pictures, why you decided on this, and a few other fun things. And like I say, have a little fun with it. It's good practice for any time you're taking pictures in the future. And yes, I'll probably give you a couple of pointers there while we're there, and hopefully you learn something from the judging as well. Well, I appreciate very much that you've tuned into this and hopefully watched all of it. I do want to make myself available for questions. Again, my name is Richard Russell, and you can reach me at rerussell@bright.net. I'm also on Facebook, official Richard Russell fan page. If you do send me an email, be sure to put 4-H photo clinic question in the subject line. That way I'll be sure to get to it. I'll look for that and be able to answer you right away. I, again, appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. And we will all look forward to seeing you and your project at the Huron County Fair. Thanks very much.